ऐसे पढ़ाइए ये टेलीकॉम के बाद डायरेक्ट मैच बंदा लगा
các bạn xuống
नहीं QR कोड आईडी पर मेरा बना के देंगे नया नंबर पड़ता नहीं आया देखो सर वो काम आया वो कौन सा तुम्हारा टीएल था उसका नंबर
कौन किधर
जलेंद्र सर चालू हॉस्पिटल टेलीकॉम के भी मेरे पास जॉब है लेकिन इतना टेंशन रहता है उसके अंदर टेलीकॉम को बहुत टेंशन रहता है
टेलीकॉम का क्या प्रोसेस है
कुछ नहीं वो ऑनलाइन अप्लाई करना पड़ता है जियो का सबसे अभी अच्छा तो जियो का है इतनी तकलीफ देती
क्या
है
वर्क है तो
और तुम्हारे समझ में रही तो कुछ खतरा बोल गई है और कोई छोड़ गया उसने कदर की टीचर 11 बजे तक कॉल रहती टारगेट रहता टारगेट नहीं रहता टारगेट उनसे जो बात करते हैं वो कस्टमर केयर बोल रहे हैं उनको तो बहुत तकलीफ है उनको ज्यादा बाजा तो कस्टमर केयर का कर पाऊंगा ना मुंह दुखने लगता है तो नारनी सर को आराम से बात करना जाना पड़ता है नहीं वो हो जाता वो ट्रेनिंग दे दी थी वो चलो कोई बात नहीं आओ सर को कितने हैं सर को ठीक है
पैकिंग है साला
कोई भी अनबोर्डिंग के ऊपर दिखाई कि कहीं नहीं चालू
न्यूट्रल का प्रॉब्लम कितना रहेगा सर
और नवरी छे दिया आपके चेहरे पे वो आपके सीबीआई के सीबीआई की है ना सीबीआई की भाई इंक्यूबेटर प्रोग्राम में नोमान नहीं कि अच्छा एमबीए करे और वो है सारी प्रोजेक्ट बनाओ वही के अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट बनाओ हाँ पेड सर्विस सॉफ्टवेयर बना के बैगन के समा कर रहे हैं पॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहे हैं मैंने कहा चेयरमैन के सामने जाके बैठना वो करना ये करना खाओ वो खेला खेले तो बैठना नहीं होता अरे मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ ये मेरे साथ जो डेवलपर है उनको भी तुम्हारे को तुम्हारे डेवलपर को लेके जाके बैठा देते हैं चेयरमैन के सामने पिच दे लो वो कर लो ये कर लो मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ तो नहीं सुन रहा बंदा समझ वो रहा 3 से 6 लाख का ऑफर था प्रोजेक्ट हाँ नहीं ऐसा कोई भी स्पेसिफिक नहीं था वो बोल भाई चेयरमैन की बात आते हैं लाख रुपए पर सर बोल रहा है मालूम क्लाउड पे शिफ्ट करोगे तो हमारे 6 लाख रुपए आ रहे हैं और ताकि वो कौन से भाषा के सामने बैठो बोल रहे हैं वो पहले ये वो देखता हूँ
Hello guys, am I audible?
Yes.
How do I hear them? Hello guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So I'll have to start from the beginning once again because I wasn't audible. Have you guys, you have heard my introduction or everything was missed? All right, let me get started once again. So this is Razi, because I'm a operations manager working with Mindtree Technologies, and I carry experience of like 8 years of experience into technologies like VMware virtualization and Windows Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. And basically, I'm a BTech graduate located in Hyderabad. Okay, this is all about me. So here we are going to talk about Azure Active Directory. So the purpose of this demo session is we are going to start a training module for a 3 months of curriculum. I guess we have the curriculum already uploaded on the Full Stack Academy website, so you can go through the curriculum as well. So this track comprises of things like we will first discuss about the basics of Windows Active Directory. Initially, we will discuss the basics of Windows Active Directory. What does Windows Active Directory do? What is the purpose of Active Directory? And how was the traditional Active Directory used to be before cloud came into existence? So these are the things we will discuss in the initial days, and we will start with Azure Active Directory. We will follow the certification curriculum of Microsoft. That is, we have Azure Fundamentals AZ 900, and we have AZ104, that is Azure Administrator. So these are the certification paths we have in Microsoft. So this is the curriculum we are going to follow. We're going to follow the exact certification curriculum. All right. Before I start with Azure, I will make sure that you're clear with the basics and you all are on the same page before we start with cloud technologies. I would request everyone to be on mute if you're not speaking. If you want to speak, yeah, I see there is a hand raised. If you want to say something, yeah, please go ahead. All right. So let's get started with this demo session, Azure Active Directory. So before we start with Azure Active Directory, we will discuss how is this training curriculum and how is this skill set is going to help us out to grab a job in the IT industry, basically. Okay. So let's understand how does a typical a workplace looks like in an IT company. Okay. So I discussed about product-based and service-based companies because you guys missed the session. I'm going to cover it once again. So the IT industry in India is acquired with two types of companies. That is, one is product-based company, and there is service-based company. Product-based company is something which develops their own product and sell in the market. Okay, so we have like Microsoft. Microsoft has their own products like operating system and Exchange services like Outlook, and we have Teams application, like it's an Office 365 suite complete, right? And we also have services like Azure Cloud. So these are the different platforms and different offerings which Microsoft provides. All right. So Microsoft is a product-based company. And similarly, we have the other good, the MNCs in the market which have acquired the organization, which have acquired the market basically. Those are like the well-known companies we have, like Wipro, Infosys, and TCS, Accenture, Capgemini. So these are service-based companies. Okay, so service-based companies, what they do, they will go for projects. They acquire projects from product-based companies. Let's say there is a product like Microsoft has Azure. Azure is the product of Microsoft. So what they do is they will provide service to these product-based companies. What they do is they sign a contract with them, and they will support the organization, the customers of these product-based companies. So Microsoft is providing the product, that is Azure. So for Azure, whenever a customer is purchasing these softwares, so a customer needs support. So for that support, they will outsource their support to these service-based companies. Okay, so these are the service-based companies. So they sign a contract, they charge them. Wipro is going to charge Microsoft for the support being provided to their customers, and that's how they run their business. So these are the service-based companies. So in a typical service-based company, when you work in a project, this is a typical workplace it will look like. Okay, so we will have different teams working on a project. Like on the deck, we have few teams listed, like it's networking team and security team, backup and storage team. We have help desk team, and we also have identity team. Identity, it can be termed as AD team, Active Directory team, or a Wintel team. Okay, so these are some terminologies you will hear when you get into these service-based companies. So Wintel is like Windows running on Intel operating system is termed as Wintel team or Active Directory team. So these teams are interrelated with each other. Like networks deals with the networking concepts. Okay, establishing the network, making sure that the network is running with good bandwidth and all. So those are the activities they take care of. Right, and security, we have things like they will monitor the security alerts and implement some security, extra layer of securities to the environment to secure the environment. And we have help desk team who will certainly receive the it's the initial point of contact for any customers, help desk team. Okay, so these are a typical a typical workplace looks like in any service-based company. And in the center, we have identity team. Identity team is actually the core team working in the project. Someone wants to speak? If you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. All right, thank you. So what is this identity team? What does they do, and why it is termed as a core team of the complete project? So identity team or Active Directory team, basically what they do is they are responsible for authorizing and authenticating any service or any user in that project. Okay, let's say you're onboarding a new team, a new member in a team. Let's say networking team. You have a networking team, and there is a new candidate or a new employee joining this team, networking team. So when they join this team, the basic thing, the initial thing has to be done is a user account has to be created for that employee. So what they have to do, they have to contact this identity team. In any team an employee is joining, let it's a networks team, security, help desk, or storage, every time they have to contact the Active Directory team, get an account created, provide them the necessary accesses to necessary applications, and grant them the necessary permissions. So all these things are taken care by Active Directory team, identity team. Okay, and let's say in the storage team, you have some storage servers in the organization. In the data center, you have some storage servers or backup servers running up. You want to log in, and you're not able to access that storage server. the responsible team is Active Directory again. If someone is not able to access the storage devices or anything, it's they have to contact Active Directory team, because Active Directory team is going to authenticate and allow the user to log into a particular resource or a server. So this is the core team. Every other team is dependent on identity team or Active Directory team. Okay. So with this training curriculum of our 3 months of training curriculum, we are going to focus more on identity part, identity and access management in Azure. Okay, this is the deep dive training module we have for identity and access management. Apart from identity and access management, we are also covering Azure virtual machines, Azure networking, Azure concepts as well. Okay, so the agenda of this training module is to make you ready for corporates, to make you ready for a job. So if you go through the training curriculum, just understand that we are covering the networks part, we are covering the security and storage part, we are going deep dive into identity, that is the core Active Directory model. We are going deep dive into that Active Directory model. So we are covering almost everything, so that we are increasing your probability to get a job easily in the market. Okay, so we are covering all the concepts. We are covering much basics of networks, security, storage, and we are going into deep dive for identity, because that is the core subject in any project you're working into. So we are going deep dive into that subject. Okay. So in this way, your probability to get a job is more increased, right? So you have skill set with everything. You have skill set of security, you have skill set of networks, you have skill set of storage, and a deep knowledge of identity and Active Directory.
So the AZ900 and AZ104 will be covered in that?
Yes, AZ900 and AZ104 will be completely covered. AZ900 is much basics compared to AZ104. So we will cover on the basics. As I mentioned, I will start with basics. So I will start with traditional Active Directory, that is Windows Active Directory. We will cover AZ900, and then we will move on to AZ104, that is Azure Administrator. AZ104, we have everything: Azure virtual machines, Azure networks, Azure storage, and security concepts as well. Okay. And the reason I'm more interested to go with the identity and Active Directory and how you will be sorry, someone said something. Anyone wants to speak? Yeah, if you have any issues speaking up, or your mic is not working, something like that, you can post your question in the chat itself, and I can answer those questions. Yep. So if you have any audio issue, you can put it in the chat box and I will answer your question. All right. Thank you so much. So any questions? Nothing? All right. So this is a typical workplace looks like in any service-based company. And let's move on to the next slide.
सर एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी में जैसे एफएसए के अंदर एक एग्जांपल लिया जाए तो एफएसए कैन भी है, इसके अंदर किसको काय का ऑथराइजेशन देना है, कैन देना है, ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर के पास रहता है।
एग्जैक्टली,
है ना?
यस।
कौन सी क्लास में करना है, क्या पासवर्ड है, वाईफाई का क्या पासवर्ड है, कौन सा वाईफाई से ऑफिस के लिए, कौन सा ऑफिस के लिए, सब
we are administering it. Yeah, administrator ka kaam hai. Yeah. So this is how Active Directory is important everywhere in any organization. So we will just understand what is Active Directory and why it is important for administering these tasks. Okay. So what is Active Directory basically? So we have mixed audience over here. So I will just go with basics. So what is Active Directory? Active Directory is a directory service offered by Microsoft. What does it do? It will keep a track of all the objects that belongs to that organization. Like just how Jawad has just mentioned, like we have some routers, we have some Wi-Fi networks, different Wi-Fi networks. We have some hardware over here, like we have Full Stack Academy, really, I mean, the hardware belongs to, like, we have some laptops and desktops, which belongs to Full Stack Academy. Okay. So we have to keep a track of all these objects, right? We have to have a track maintained for all these objects, like how many desktops we have in place, how many laptops we have, who is using these laptops, okay, and who is authorized to connect to this Wi-Fi network. Okay, so we have multiple Wi-Fi networks over here. So who is authorized to connect to which Wi-Fi network? So all these things is an administration task. Okay, so what does Active Directory do? It will keep a track of all these objects, all the users in the organization. So if you're managing an organization, you have to have a track of all the users. Who are the users belonging to this organization? So these are termed as objects in Active Directory. Okay, so all the user objects, computer objects, and any network devices are also termed as objects in Active Directory. So it will keep a track of these objects, as well as it is also responsible to allocate the access, to authenticate those users. Apart from keeping a track, it is also responsible to authenticate those users. Like authenticate in the sense, the basic terminology when we say authenticate, you're proving your identity, basically, who you are. When you enter inside to this classroom, you will have to ensure that you belong to this Azure Active Directory class, right? You cannot just enter inside. You have to ensure, you have to prove your identity. Okay, I belong to this class. I am a candidate in this class. I'm allowed inside. So you have to present something, your ID card or something like that. So this is how you're proving your identity. So what is Active Directory is doing? It is verifying your identity with the help of username and password. So whenever you log into any resource, any application, you will enter your username and password. So when you enter your username and password, Active Directory will validate your credentials, whether you have entered correct passwords or not. Then only it will allow you in.
मेरी आवाज बड़ी नहीं थी तैयार बनाए हुई थी कि मां
Ahora चलेगा ना हाय वो किस चलेगा ना
I think we have lost, sir. Just wait for 2 minutes.
guys, sorry, this was disconnected in the middle. We're back. Due to network issue, it was disconnected, right? I guess I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. All right, I would request everyone to mute yourself and we will continue. Request everyone to mute yourself, please. All right. Done. Thank you. So before we start with Azure Active Directory, we will also discuss what is Windows Active Directory. So before cloud came into existence, Active Directory was still there. Okay, Active Directory is a very old technology which is there in the market for like at least 30 to 40 years at least. Okay, so Active Directory was existed before cloud came in. Okay, so that is called Windows Active Directory. So this technology which we just discussed, like what does Active Directory do? Active Directory authenticates and authorizes. So it used to do this job from decades already. But now recently, let's say 10 years back, cloud came into the market. Cloud was occupying the market basically. Okay, so this new version of Active Directory came into market, that is Azure Active Directory. Okay, so Azure Active Directory is somewhat a replica of the Windows Active Directory, which was already there in the market. To be honest, Windows Active Directory was more into much detail. Okay, it has more. There is some disturbance. I would request if you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. All right. So this Active Directory was already there, and it was. So if we compare the cloud version and the traditional version of Active Directory, the traditional version of Active Directory had more advanced features. Okay, it was more into more detail. Okay, you have like detailed security policies, that is termed as group policy management. If you have ever heard about group policy management. So group policies was a concept in traditional Active Directory where we had more detailed policies in place to restrict the accesses, to specify access on certain conditions. But comparatively to Azure model of Active Directory, Azure model is more focused on the security and single sign-on part. Okay, so single sign-on is a terminology which came into existence when cloud came into market. Okay, single sign-on and the security concepts like integration of devices into the Azure cloud. Okay, the on-prem devices into cloud. So those security concepts are more focused, and also we have the single sign-on, like providing single sign-on to applications. So these are the areas where cloud is actually growing into. But traditional Active Directory was a different one. It has its own benefits, and cloud has its own, priorities. Okay, so it goes with the demand basically. So the demand is for single sign-on, providing easy access to the users. So that is the demand in the market. So that's how the product grows in the market. So how does the demand? When a client is looking for a product, it will go for certain priorities. Okay, it will ask for how this product is helping the user to access the resources in a easy way, in a single sign-on way. Okay, so that is the demand getting created by the customers. So on as per the demand, the product grows. Okay, so this cloud Active Directory is a bit different when compared to the Windows Active Directory. So in this training curriculum of 3 months, we will first start with the Windows Active, the traditional method of Active Directory, how it used to be. Okay, and only theoretical. We will cover the complete practical model of Windows Active Directory. You all will have lab access. to the servers, where you will be able to build up some domain controllers and configure the Windows Active Directory. And also then once we configure the Windows Active Directory, we will learn how to move this Windows Active Directory into Azure Active Directory, into cloud, basically. How to move this traditional local Active Directory model into cloud, basically. We will learn it. I mean, we will first implement the Windows Active Directory, the traditional one, and then we will move this environment to the cloud. And that's how we will learn from the basics, and we will end up in the cloud model. Okay. So this is the agenda of the training curriculum. All right. So let's understand the Active Directory models. The local one, we call it as Windows Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. So in Windows Active Directory, we have multiple hierarchies in place, like multiple services in place. As I mentioned, like it was more in-depth when compared to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is more streamlined, more simplified. But whereas the local Active Directory, it has something called ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services, Active Directory Lightweight Directory Services. We had Active Directory Federation Services, and also we had Active Directory Certificate Services. So these are the different services we had in place in the traditional Active Directory model. But whereas in Azure Active Directory, we have just two models, like Windows Azure Active Directory, which takes care of the majority of the aspects of domain services, providing domain services. Okay, and the other thing is like access control service. Access control service is something we can relate to the ADFS model of traditional Active Directory federation services. It's like federating or establishing a trust between two organizations. So the access control service deals with the federation trusts. So we will explore all this in detail. Okay. Any questions for me until now? Online, I would request, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I will be answering those. All right. Let's move on.
बेसिकली क्लाउड का ऐसा है कि ओवर द इंटरनेट हम इस माइक्रोसॉफ्ट के जो डाटा सेंटर से मतलब बनाए हैं उससे अपना जो कॉन्फ़िगरेशन रहता है उसको जो कॉन्फ़िगरेशन आपको पीसी में चाहिए वो हम बोरो करते हैं जितना पैसे देंगे उतने देर तक यूज करेंगे ये
Yeah, we are purchasing this service for some period of time.
पहले ऑन प्रेम रहता था यही सर्विसेज अब माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने डाटा सेंटर्स को ट्रांसफर कर दिया और वो स्पेस को आप रेंट करते हैं.
Exactly. You're renting some space in Microsoft data center. That is cloud basically. Cloud is again, see, when we say cloud, it is again a physical hardware running in Microsoft's data center. Over the internet. Right, exactly. Exactly. Internet, and it has more availability options and more redundant compared to your on-prem. Your on-prem environment will be like dependent on your geographical conditions. Like if you have a power cut or something, your service will go down, right? But when Microsoft is maintaining a cloud infrastructure and offering these services, it has to maintain the redundancy. Even if something breaks down, the service should not be interrupted. So they have those things in place, okay, to ensure the redundancy of the service. So what is Azure Active Directory? Azure Active Directory is a multi-tenant cloud-based directory and identity management service. There are a lot of new terminologies, but yeah, we will cover everything in the training model. I will simplify all these things. So Active Directory is basically, I mean, when we log into Azure, we create a tenant, basically a tenant in Microsoft Azure. Sorry, someone wants to say something? Okay. It's better you type in your questions in the chat box itself, guys. Thank you so much. All right. So it's a cloud-based directory. As we discussed, like directories, like we have a directory book. Take a directory book, we maintain the contact details and everything. So that was the Active Directory model we just discussed. It will maintain the track of all the objects that belongs to the organization. So this is a cloud-based directory. So very similar to the traditional Active Directory, it is a cloud-based directory service which maintains the track of the local Active Directory as well as the cloud resources. Okay. So as I mentioned, it is more focused on the single sign-on and self-service concepts. So single sign-on is something like you log into one application. Let's say you're logging into your corporate laptop and you log into an application that is Outlook. Okay. So once you logged into Outlook application, the other applications will not prompt you for credentials. When you're logging into one application, providing your username and password at once, the next applications when you open on the same machine, it will directly log you in without asking for any credentials. Okay, so this is called single sign-on. So single sign-on, like you will just enter your credentials at a single instance, and you will get access to multiple applications at a time.
जैसे गूगल के अपने क्रोम में अगर आपने अपना जीमेल साइन इन किए, क्रोम में अगर अपना यूजर बनाए, तो वो यूट्यूब ड्राइव वगैरह सबसे अपना सेम को वापस से लॉगिन करने की जरूरत नहीं रहती, जितने भी गूगल के सर्विस है.
Second. All right. Yes. So once you authenticate to a cloud, a Google service, and you're using the same Google Gmail account to access some other resource in a new tab, let's say, what happens is the browser will give you the single sign-on, because the browser is storing the cookies, and in its cookie, it will store your credentials basically. So it will log you in with the same credentials without prompting for password once again. Okay. So that is a typical single sign-on behavior itself. Okay, so as the pictorial representation says, like we will have something called on-premises. Traditional Active Directory, that was Windows Active Directory, is termed as on-premises because it is present at your premises. It is not in the cloud, but it is present at your premises. So it is termed as on-premises Active Directory. So this on-premises Active Directory will be synced to Azure Active Directory to utilize the Azure services like the SaaS applications, the Office 365 applications. So the purpose of moving into cloud is the major benefit is you can access anything from anywhere. That is the purpose of moving into cloud. Okay. So when your on-premises Active Directory is getting synchronized with the Azure Active Directory, the benefit you get is your on-premises users will be able to access your company resources from anywhere across the globe without any disruptions. They don't need to connect to your office network every time. They don't need to have a VPN connectivity as well. They just need to have an internet connectivity so they can access the resources from anywhere. That is the major benefit of having resources in cloud.
Work from home इतना easy हो गया ना? Yes,
work from home. जब से work from home हुआ, let me admit this. The time when we started work from home, when this pandemic came into picture, actually the demand of cloud has increased. The demand of Azure Active Directory and any cloud service has increased in the market because people are forced to move into cloud for better connectivity. Because they're working from home, they had to have VPN connectivity every time, VPN client running on their client machines, VPN server running in their office premises. So they have to have the connectivity. Connection breaks out sometimes. So if their resources are on cloud, no need of any VPN connectivity or anything. You just need to have internet connection on your home, at your home. You can access to all the resources with security. So we are not compromising on security. When we are connecting to things on internet, we are also making sure that the security is in place. Okay, the corporate security which you used to have when you log into your resources from your office network, the same security will be in place when you're accessing those resources from your home. So we are not compromising on security as well. We will learn all those technologies in detail, how these securities are being maintained when everything is allowed to access on internet.
सर Azure तो अपना Azure पे क्लाउड पे जाने के लिए क्लाउड सर्विस अपना खुद का है assurance देते हैं कि हम आपके डाटा को सिक्योर करेंगे
Data को secure करेंगे. So
उनका खुद का रहता है.
exactly. So let me also make it clear. So when initially cloud came into market, people were hesitant to move into cloud because they were like, why should I move my environment to Microsoft Cloud? That's sounding like I'm handing over my data, my environment to Microsoft to manage my environment. So they were a bit hesitant to do this. Actually, they were not that confident enough. But recently, when I mean, so marketing strategies came in place, Microsoft has made clear to the customers like we are maintaining your security, everything is secured. So slowly people started moving into cloud, and now everything is in cloud basically. Okay. So with this term, I think we are about to close our deck, and now I'm open for any questions. Okay, can you explain single sign-on in Hindi? Yes, sure. So single sign-on, आप एक एप्लीकेशन लॉगिन करेंगे, ठीक है? जब आप आपका लैपटॉप when you open your laptop, जब आप आपका लैपटॉप ओपन करेंगे तो आप जब लॉगिन करेंगे कोई एप्लीकेशन पे, let's say Outlook एप्लीकेशन आप लॉगिन, when you log into Outlook एप्लीकेशन, आप आपके क्रेडेंशियल्स एंटर करेंगे, your username एंटर करेंगे, पासवर्ड एंटर करेंगे, ठीक है? So what happens? Your username and password is stored somewhere on your device. Okay, your device cookies or your device memory will device की memory store करेगी आपके password, आपके credentials को store करेंगे, save करेंगे temporarily, ठीक है? On the temporary memory, that is ROM basically, ठीक है? अब क्या होगा जब आप कोई दूसरे एप्लीकेशंस ओपन करेंगे, लेट इट ऑन द ब्राउजर और डेस्कटॉप, ब्राउजर एप्लीकेशन खोलेंगे या फिर डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन जैसा कि टीम्स एप्लीकेशन है, वैसे एप्लीकेशन जब आप ओपन करेंगे तो होगा क्या, यू विल नॉट बी, आपको क्रेडेंशियल्स के लिए प्रॉम्प्ट नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है? इट विल नॉट आस्क यू फॉर यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड, इट विल डायरेक्टली लॉग यू इन. आपको यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड के लिए नहीं पूछेगा, आपको directly log in होगा, ठीक है? You will be directly inside the application. I hope I cleared that in Hindi. Asif, was it understandable? Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good
Yeah.
afternoon. So I have a small question. As you said that you are having a TNet. So what is a TNet in Azure?
Tenant.
Yes, tenant.
Yes. Tenant is something like you are renting a place, ठीक है? In Azure, ठीक है? आप Azure में कुछ जगह रेंट पे ले रहे हैं, ठीक है? थोड़ी जगह आप रेंट पे ले रहे हैं. So you will be provided a tenant. टेनेंट का बेसिक मीनिंग क्या है? टेनेंट यानी कि एक प्लेस को बोलते हैं, एक जगह को, एक घर को आप टेनेंट बोल सकते हैं, राइट?
जी.
आपको एक घर Azure में किराए पे दे रहे हैं, ठीक है? दैट इज टेनेंट. यू आर क्रिएटिंग योर ओन टेनेंट.
And what is the concept of multiple AD domains?
Multiple AD domains. So
Yes.
you can have multiple domains in your organization, right? So you can have a forest, you can have multiple child domains in place, or you can have different forests as well in your organization. Okay.
I don't get the concept of forest. Everyone says, whenever I ask someone what is the difference between Windows Active Directory and Azure Active Directory, they just say me about forest and all these things. I don't get those things.
Okay. Let me try to make it simple for you. Okay.
Thank you.
When before you move to Azure, you will have something in Windows Active Directory in place. Okay. So you will have your own Windows Active Directory running already, and everything is in place. So when you have Windows Active Directory, when you create a Windows Active Directory, basically in an organization, let's say I am opening a company, ठीक है, Full Stack Academy एक नई कंपनी ओपन हुई, ठीक है, तो वो कंपनी के नाम से एक डोमेन खरीदना पड़ेगा, ठीक है, you will have to purchase a domain with that company name, like fullstackacademy.com. This is the domain, ठीक है. The first domain which you create, that first domain will be termed as a forest.
Okay.
Okay, because that is the top domain which you have in place. Inside this domain, you can have child domains in place. Just like a Full Stack Academy is in Hyderabad, so we will have a child domain that is hyderabad.fullstackacademy.com. And if you have Full Stack Academy also in Bangalore, you will have bangalore.fullstackacademy.com. These are child domains getting created inside the forest. Forest is fullstackacademy.com. ठीक है, तो ये forest हो गया. Forest के अंदर जो domains create होंगे, those are called as child domains. ठीक है. So in this way, what you do is you have multiple domains. ठीक है, आपके पास multiple domains. आपके पास हैदराबाद का एक अलग domain है, which has a different network in place. फिर बैंगलोर का अलग domain है, चेन्नई का अलग domain है. तो ये multiple domains आप already use कर रहे हैं आपके Windows Active Directory में. Now, when you plan to move into cloud, into Azure, you will have to integrate all these domains into Azure. Okay. So that is how that was your first question. What is multi-domain in Azure? So this is what it is. When you have multi-domain in place in on-prem, in Windows Active Directory, you have to have those domains integrated with cloud as well.
Okay, sir, I got. So can we have multiple AD domains?
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is AD domains itself. The thing we just talked about, these are Active Directory domains itself.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. That's a nice explanation.
You're welcome. Some questions? Yes. So there are some questions. For making a career in cloud security, it's mandatory to get cloud administration certificate. What is the difference between the AWS and Azure? Okay. So, cloud administration certificate for cloud security. See, when you start with cloud, you have to start with basics. I would request you guys to please mute yourself. All right. Done. So cloud security, is it mandatory for cloud administration certificate? So cloud administration is something like Azure Administrator AZ-104. Okay. Cloud security, you have a different set of certifications in place. So when you start with cloud, you can go through the Microsoft certification website itself. It will showcase you the hierarchy basically. If you're looking for a specialization in cloud security, where you need to start from. So Active Directory is the basics. Okay. When you're looking for certification with Microsoft Cloud certifications, Active Directory is something which is basic. You have to start with. You have to be clear with Active Directory concepts, then only you the specialization. Request everyone to please put yourself on mute. So they're joining, they're disconnecting, then they're joining. So they're on mute. Unmute. All right. Another question. Guys, please be on mute if you're not speaking.
So in this module, you are just gonna learn 104 and 900.
Yes, 104 and 900. Apart from 104 and 900, a deep dive session into Azure Active Directory.
Okay. It's not a DevOps part, right?
No, this is not DevOps.
Okay.
DevOps.
So what's your name, sir?
My name is Raziullah Muhammad.
Okay.
So DevOps, we also have DevOps training available at Full Stack.
Yeah, I know.
After this training curriculum, you can opt for DevOps. So DevOps is like is again a specialization. So if you're looking for DevOps, you have to go through these Active Directory models first. Then only
Yes.
go for DevOps. It's
No,
like
I personally had some doubt in Azure Active Directory, so I joined. I already completed my Azure track in full stack.
okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
So I never heard you, so ask your name.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
I didn't see you till now. Like I've left
Yeah.
Full Stack Academy for nearly 3 to 4 months. I didn't visit it till now, so
Okay.
I had
Yeah.
some doubts, so I thought of joining this call.
Definitely, you can visit Full Stack. So I will be here Monday to Friday. So the track timing would be like 12 noon to 1. So you can visit and we can meet up. Okay.
Actually, I'm in migration team, so as you said, you are working on VMware, so I think you can help me.
Sure, definitely, Rohan. Let's meet up once. You can come here and can meet up.
Okay, thank you.
So I see a few more questions. What is the difference between the AWS and Azure? So these are two different cloud platforms. Basically, AWS is offered by Amazon. Azure is the cloud model by Microsoft. So they offer similar solutions in the market for similar strategies, but the terminologies would be a bit different. The way will be different. I mean, but to be honest, it's quite same. Okay, so both are good and they have good opportunities in the market. AWS also have a good market, and you have good jobs available in AWS as well as in Azure, and they are competitors. And these two are actually acquiring the market at the moment. Okay. Do you also teach DevOps? So we have a different trainer over here. So we have a training model already in place for DevOps at Full Stack Academy. So yes, we train DevOps, but yes, you have to have the Azure administration knowledge before you opt for DevOps. Okay. So it is necessary to go with basics. You can take the admission. There is no one is stopping you, but my opinion would be go with the basics first, learn the basics, give yourself time to understand the concepts, and then go with the specializations. All right. Any more questions? Roadmap for DevOps. DevOps roadmap. So DevOps certification, if you're going for, you have the roadmap available on the Microsoft certification website. What all certifications are required to go for the DevOps certification. So everything is in place on the Microsoft certification website. You can go through that. A roadmap, in my opinion, would be if you're coming from a non-IT background or you're new to IT or if you're a fresher, you have, if your end goal is to learn DevOps, you have to start with Windows Active Directory, on-premises Active Directory, MCSC, Microsoft Certified System Engineer, MCSC certification model. You have to start with that, and then you have to learn Azure Active Directory, and then you have to go for Azure DevOps. This is the roadmap, in my opinion. Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions, guys? All right, thank you so much. The training curriculum is how can I contact you? I will. You can contact the Full Stack Academy. I think the contact details are available. Just give me 1 second. Jawad. Just give me 1 second. I can provide you the contact details. Do you have any contact number? They want the contact details. 79997.
87
Mhm.
86 85 और 9346 और एक कर लीजिए साथ में, अगर कोई बिजी रहा तो 9346
Mhm.
01
Mhm.
3977 9346 01 3977.
All right. So this is the contact details for Full Stack Academy. These are the IST numbers, India numbers. Okay, so you can touch base with these numbers and you can connect with me as well. I'm available at Full Stack Monday to Friday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Mhm. Guys, got any questions? No? All right, guys, if no questions, I think we are good to go. Thank you so much for your time. The training batch would start from this coming week, Monday onwards. So please inquire, contact these numbers and inquire about all these, all queries which you have, and start soon. See you on Monday then. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. That was a good explanation. Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.